It's the quick take here on the Fulhamish YouTube channel after our 1-0 defeat to Newcastle United at Craven Cottage. Our brilliant run against Newcastle continues of never beating them. I'm here with Farrell, hello.
Hello, Sammy. How are you?
I'd been better if we might have won or drawn or done anything today. Today was one just big old shrug, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we could all be very disappointed about the result. I certainly am. I think considering the fact that Fulham played well for large portions of the game and then we come away from with nothing is a big disappointment. But considering how things are going in the league, I'm actually not that bothered. I mean, we lost to a team who are owned by Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's fine. It happens. Whatever.
Owned by Saudi Arabia, but also have about 60,000 injuries. It was quite a good opportunity to beat them today. Yeah. And in fairness, first half, we should be walking into half-time. 2 or 3 goals up, although you said just before we started recording, we played really well. Didn't actually create that much clear cut, but we had some lovely play.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually really exciting to watch. We felt like we were really dominating this team. You know, they've qualified for Europe, and it felt like a big opportunity here because we were actually dominating them. We were winning the ball high up the pitch, creating openings left, right, and centre, really, but just couldn't really create that real clear-cut chances for some of our players to gobble up, really. So that's kind of like the only sort of thing missing here. Last couple of games created loads of chances, scored quite a lot of goals at Bramall Lane. Should have probably scored a couple more at Forest, but today, were we worth a goal? Maybe, but did we actually? Could you look back at the highlights and go, should have scored that one? Maybe the Muniz one where they robbed the ball off, I think it was Cher at the top, but that's about it, really.
I think the one for me that was a real gilt-edged chance was free kick in the second half that just flashed in front of our box. Polina missed it, Tosin missed it, Castagna I think could have probably got there as well. Yeah. That was quite a big moment. But actually, did Dubravka really have to make a save today? And I think the answer's no. I mean, it was a couple of moments he was tested, but he wouldn't say he produced a stunning save unless I've forgotten something.
No, exactly. I think that's basically it. Dubravka would come off that going, I've got my first clean sheet. I think actually it's the first clean sheet since they beat Sheffield United 8-0 earlier on in the season. So, I mean, that's probably telling you a story that, Newcastle were there to be got. Dubravka probably had quite more of his comfortable games, apart from later on when we were trying to get balls into the box and he dealt with a couple. Some of the crossing today was pretty, just not great, I would say. Some of the stuff we tried to flash across the front of the box, a couple got through, but really they didn't beat the first man. We probed, but really didn't get anywhere. Didn't get any purchase, shall we say.
No, and Muniz wasn't. I actually thought he had a couple of moments in the first half. He seemed to enjoy trying to do the seal trick where he head the ball about 6 times whilst trying to get it in. There was a couple of moments maybe he could have done a little bit better, but he didn't really get the service. Once again, similar to Forest, he didn't get that many opportunities to do all that much.
I actually think that as the game wore on, I think we should have gone direct a bit more. I'm not saying that we should have blasted up to him every single time, because he was getting some success up against Burn and Cher, laying it off to Willian very nicely and Pereira a few times. He wasn't winning it every single time, but he was creating problems for them. So I thought we would do that more and more, but actually it became less and less. We were playing it more and more on the ground, and therefore Muniz wasn't getting the joy anywhere else, really. So yeah, I don't know, and we can come on to sort of how the game changed, because we can talk about the substitutions as well, because it really did not change the game in our favour at all, really.
Nope, it's exactly where I was going next. Particularly for me, it was Kearney off, Pereira off. I think that might have been Wilson on and Adama on at that time.
Yes.
Oh no, Lukic on, sorry.
Oh, Lukic, yes.
Lukic on and Adama on. Whilst Adama brought some energy on the right-hand side, that sub did not work at all, did it? And I don't know what it is. He keeps taking off Andreas Pereira, and it keeps completely destroying the fluidity of this team. I know that Andreas Pereira is a polarising figure amongst the fan base, but every time he goes off, Fulham get weaker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been one of his biggest critics this season. But, I mean, Forest on Tuesday night, he was exceptional. And me and my brother were talking during that game, well, we need to change things up a little bit, especially since Newcastle was sort of defending more on the front foot. So we had less opportunities to pick the ball up in, those much more advanced positions, which where Kearney is brilliant at. So therefore, if we do win the ball, we've got to break with it. And as we know, Kenny's not exactly going to be busting past the centre mid to sort of drive us up the pitch a little bit. So we kind of felt that Kenny was the one just to come off, and then maybe it'll be a Lukic, maybe a Iwobi moving into the 8. It really did surprise me that he took Pereira off, given how good he has been playing recently. It felt just a bit, like Marco said the other night, when he did make those 3 early subs, he said how it wasn't those players, I just needed to change something. I mean, changing something for someone who's this highly paid manager that, I mean, surely putting a bit of thought into it. I'm not going to criticise Marco too much. He's a genius, we know it, and we have every faith in him. I mean, playing Lukic and Iwobi and Pereira in the 3, that's still a pretty good 3. I just don't think he expected Iwobi in the 10 not to be as effective as he has been, because I did think that Iwobi started off really, really well, got less effective as the game went on, and just sort of petered out towards the end.
Yeah, and by the end we made all the subs. We brought on Breuer and Raul Jimenez and tried to throw the kitchen sink. Wilson on the left was very ineffective. I thought it was a really poor cameo from him. We halved. We had about 17,000 corners. Did we really come that close? I mean, there was a couple of moments, but Newcastle are masters of the dark arts, and when you give them the 1-0 advantage, it's difficult once you're in that stage.
Well, you saw how many times they went down for injuries. I mean, I now know why they're called the Toonami, all those Mickey Mouse injuries that they're doing the entire time. They've got that game plan. It works. Fair play to them. If it was us, we'd be like, yeah, that's very clever, isn't it? But yeah,
I mean, the fake goalkeeper injury so that they can have a first half team talk is quite something. Especially then when he does get injured and suddenly it was slightly the boy who cried wolf in that situation.
Well, was it Lewis Hall that went off late on and he actually pulled a hamstring? But because of everything that had gone on previously, obviously all the Fulham fans gave him massive stick for it. So yeah, I mean, he's probably getting all the stick based upon all his teammates' doings.
The goal we conceded, it's quite a nice finish from Bruno Guimaraes, but at that point it just felt an inevitability that Newcastle were going to score. We obviously got a little bit of luck with the disallowed goal just a few minutes earlier. I think we all thought we'd got away with it, but just as soon as we re-kicked off from that foul, it just felt like Newcastle are going to score here. Harvey Barnes on the left was just causing us all sorts of problems, and whilst he didn't get the goal, felt like it was his influence. He was the sub that changed the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can say how many injuries that Newcastle have, and yes, they do have a lot of injuries, but they still have the collateral to bring on Harvey Barnes. Yes, he's been injured recently, but he's still such a massive asset to any team in this league, and he was causing us a lot of problems as well. It also freed up Gordon a bit more, I found, as well, to sort of influence play a bit more. And yeah, I did feel it was coming. I mean, they just had that disallowed goal. They were getting more of the rub of the green. They were getting more shots off. I felt like I've literally just watched it back before coming on, and it was a really good defence by Robinson to get there and get away, but it didn't have enough distance on it. But no one was there to clean it up and go out. I thought that Paulinho didn't really defend it stoutly enough that we expect of him, really. Yeah, it was coming. It happened.
And now you're looking at our situation. It feels a bit similar to last year, where we're now stuck on 39 points for an entire eternity. Last year we were stuck on 39 points for at least 4 or 5 games, I seem to recall. And you've got West Ham next week. If you lose that, Liverpool the week after that, suddenly this kind of what was going to be a really positive end to the season suddenly could be 4 defeats in a row if we're not careful. I mean, I like to think we've got a chance of giving West Ham a game, particularly as they're going away to Bayer Leverkusen on Thursday as well. That's a huge, boost for us in terms of their, fitness. But yeah, we need to be a bit careful here, because what actually felt like was going to be a really positive end to the season, if a few more bad results, could actually end into a bit of a losing end to the season.
Yeah, and these things can carry over season by season, as we have seen with Fulham. Like, relegation seasons have sort of been coming, because the season previously we haven't finished so well. I'm still not worried that much. I think, considering if you take the performances in isolation, I think we're still okay. It's just we haven't had the rub of the green recently. We
I
should
mean,
have.
Forest was shit.
Yeah, Forest was crap. I'll be honest there. Sheffield United, we should have absolutely won that game by a long way. I feel like, and for large portions of the game, we dominated Newcastle. I'm still pretty positive, really. I think it's been a wonderful season, all things considered. And now, basically, we are just the anti-Brentford team from now until the end of the season, really.
Yeah, come on, you Hatters. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the quick take today. Let us know what you thought of the game down in the comments. If you agree or disagree, most likely, with what we said today. Farrell, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon. Come on, you Whites.